Happy Thanksgiving week, friends! Here are 10 things that I'm thankful for. I hope that you have something to be thankful for, and I would love if you would leave it in the comments below. So without further ado, baby, let's make the coffee first. So my husband and I were lucky enough to spend 3 months on an island in the Caribbean in Nicaragua. And one of the cool things was that it was a very remote island and all the power was generated by the sun. And so the sun would charge the batteries, and then that would in turn fuel their lights and their refrigerator. Well, we were there in the off season, and so that meant that there wasn't always sun. And if there wasn't sun, that meant that you weren't going to have any lights or any cold beer. And so it was one of the things I remember the most when we came back. Just it's striking me how much we take electricity and lighting our homes for granted. Where I live on Maui is like one of the #1 areas that there's been shark attacks in Hawaii, particularly in the last 3 years that I've lived down in this area. And right before we had a string of attacks, I used to swim like a mile and a half, right down in this stretch of coastline, which there's now been 4 attacks in the last 3 years. So yeah, I'm thankful that I have not been a shark's dinner. No, I'm not thankful for sunsets because they're pretty. I'm thankful for sunsets because it means you lived another day. One of my personal mottos has been for the last 10 years that none of us are promised tomorrow. And it's especially rang true to me when I became a nurse and got into healthcare. I have seen life change in a matter of minutes for people young, old, rich, poor, healthy, not healthy. When fate comes for you, it shows no prejudice. So it really can be shocking how quickly your life can change in just a matter of minutes. So every time I see a sunset and I just had a normal day where I drank coffee, played with the kids, maybe got stressed out about something, maybe didn't, I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that I was given another day. My parents live on Maui. I talk to them or see them pretty much every day or every other day. I could tell you all the reasons they're great parents, but what I'd rather do is tell you the song I think of when I think of them. When I think of my mom, I think of Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. And when I think of my dad, I think of Jimi Hendrix's Star Spangled Banner rendition. That's my parents. I met my husband through mutual friends. We knew each other for about a year, and then I gave him my phone number and he didn't call me for a month. So 11/22/2016 actually marks our 11-year anniversary of our first date. We went out, we played pool, we drank beer, we hung out at my house. I may have kissed him. Okay, I did kiss him. I was that girl. But I knew him for a really long time, like before we dated. So anyway, when I lived in Southern California, a good friend of mine, she was about 5 years older than me, gave me this great piece of advice. She said, marry someone that you find interesting. Because when you're 80 years old and you're just sitting on the porch in your rockers, you want to make sure that you have something to talk about. And it was honestly the best piece of advice anyone had ever given me about relationships. Yeah, 11 years later, I still find him interesting. It was a great piece of advice. You know, I had to put the Munchkins in there. Similar to my parents, I could go on and on for about all the reasons that I'm thankful for them. But one of the things I am most thankful for is how they've taught me about love. Loving them, loving myself, the love that my parents had for me, the love that God has for me. It's just been a real eye-opener to how to love others selflessly. It's just been a real interesting experience, and really hard at times and really wonderful at times, but it definitely wouldn't change how I wouldn't take back those changes that it's caused me to have. Some of them, like I said, have been painful realizations about yourself and how you love. But it's definitely been worth it, because like if we're not changing and growing as a person, like what's the point? You know what I mean?